are listening to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. This episode features virtual book fairs and teacher wish lists, a session that was presented at Children's Institute 2024 in New Orleans.
So this is a session on virtual book fairs and online teacher wish lists, or just online wish lists. All three of us here on this panel are indie commerce bookstores, so please keep that in mind. My name is Hannah Walcher, and I am currently the new executive director of California's Independent Booksellers Alliance. But before that, I worked at BookSync in the San Francisco Bay Area and ran their book fair program for 5 years and turned it into a nonprofit last year, BookSync's Reading Bridge, so we could serve Title I schools. I did keep the program running through the pandemic and have a lot of experience with virtual book fairs and teacher wish lists. And now I'm going to pass it on to my panelists to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Sophie Nogar. I work at Second Star to the Right Books in Denver. I am their store manager and author event coordinator, and I'm really excited to be here for my third Children's Institute.
Hi, I'm Angela Whited. I am at Red Balloon Bookshop in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm the community sales coordinator, so I handle all our school book fairs, our pop-up sales. I sell stories, and I used to be an events coordinator. I've been doing the book fairs for just the last 2 years, but I did start it wasn't the pandemic, but it was weird times still. So we've done some virtual ones in between.
Yeah, and I do just want to make note, if I didn't already, because I'm starting to get the nervous coffee shakes. But this is not about starting book fairs. If you're interested in that, the ABA does have a book fair toolkit available on the website, which I was part of making. So if you're interested in getting started on physical book fairs and the actual nitty-gritty of that, please take a look at that. This is mostly about wish lists and virtual book fairs. All right, so we're going to start with virtual book fairs. What is it? How do you plan it? And so forth. And did I just? No, okay. So Angela, do you want to talk about what a virtual book fair looks like for you?
Yeah. Do I have to read the slide? But
no, I'm trying not to read the slide.
Because it's far. So yeah, a virtual book fair for us, it can be run as just a virtual book fair. We sometimes run them in conjunction with either at-school book fairs or in-store book fairs. If you want to ask about these other things after this session, come hit me up. I brought my business cards this time. So the virtual book fair, basically it's in its simplest form, it's a page on your indie commerce site that you make for the school, and it's a coupon code that you make for the event or the school. There's ways to do this. And basically you are giving a landing page to your partner. Doesn't have to be a school. You're giving a landing page to your partner. You can load any wish lists onto that page, link to what you need to on that page, and then you give a coupon code, and it's the most important thing because that is how you know which sales on your website are related to the book fair. They have to apply the code, and then you run the report, and you're like, these are your sales. We'll factor any donation back to you out of this.
And it might be on a later slide, but a special note about the coupon codes. If you plan to work with this school again or they're a repeat partner, just go ahead and make a pretty simple one with no dates, and you can just update the time that the coupon code is valid. That way you don't lose any previous year sales. If you delete a coupon code, you delete the sales from the previous year. I learned that the hard way. It wasn't too bad, but so
we just have infinity expired active coupon codes right now, and Hannah's suggestion was wonderful, and we've already got something to take home from the Institute.
Wonderful. All right.
Also, just a note, don't call them coupon codes if they're not giving a discount. I call them, this is your book fair code. Apply this, and I make a note, it will not give a discount, but it'll flag your purchase as part of the book fair.
Yeah.
Watch your language.
Yeah, the coupon code language comes from the website because that's the box you have to put it in, but good tip. All right, well, it's a good thing we were doing tips because this is our best practices slide. Good practices for setting up the book fair season. So can you speak, and I know you don't have, Sophie, you do mostly wish lists, right? Do you have any?
We just We just do book fairs like at the schools, and then we'll do community nights. So we're not in the virtual book fairs yet. So I'm going to be very engaged in listening to Angela
just
and talk about the virtual book fairs.
I just want to make sure I'm not keeping her out of a conversation she can add to. So Angela, let's speak about like the expectations you set, which I think is also part of the next slide, so we'll be jumping ahead a little bit, but how you set up your season, how you prepare even before you are working with the school.
Sure. I definitely, as you work with people, they will come to you with different levels of preparedness. So having your store's book lists ready, and if that doesn't mean they're ready, if that just means, Sophie, Hannah, what do you like in middle grade, and scanning them into a list, but have lists ready for your schools in case they don't prepare wish lists. But
and like getting your calendar set
getting
up.
your calendar ready.
Yeah.
Know when your blackout times are, or you're blocked off. We're not doing virtual book fairs, and I'm imagining as indie booksellers, this is called December.
Yeah.
I encourage you to, don't do these in December unless it makes really good sense for your store. Yeah. I know at our store we are hand selling. Mm-hmm. We are all booksellers in the winter holiday season. And for our store, we need to roll that back. We're pretty much done at Thanksgiving. I tried something last year. It was not worth doing. You have a lot to manage, and if you are coordinating this, it's all about order processing on the website, and then following those through to the end. You have to be able to deliver the items, you have to be able to communicate with the people you're working with. So if you're working with a school, just tell them you can't do December. A lot of them might want to do that. And you may need to make choices about the end of your school year. How will they be able to communicate with their families? How will you be able to communicate with your families?
Mm-hmm.
Should we?
We were going to hold them towards the end since we're having people come up. So write it down.
Well, we got you.
Yeah, but thank you.
But yeah, make sure, and also you're gonna need lead time to get them ready. I require 2 weeks notice, unless I'm gonna make a special example, or not example, exception, different E word. I need 2 weeks notice. It's not because it takes me 2 whole weeks to make a web page and a coupon code. It's because I do other things and I want to make sure it's what I need. That gives me time to interface with everybody. It's much shorter lead time. Mm-hmm. But I need about 2 weeks in advance notice, and I let my partners know all your orders will not be fulfilled immediately. It's going to take a couple weeks to get any special orders in from, we have to order them from the publisher or Ingram, but we can order them from the publisher because they're batched together and they're waiting for a couple weeks. What a good discount I can get then.
And what is the traditional length of your virtual book fairs?
The cool thing about virtual book fairs, traditionally, I think they generally go about a week or two. I think 2 weeks is good, and we don't usually, and advantage of that is we don't usually let our equipment, like if you were to have an on-site book fair, that's a long time to have our goods and hardware out. So if people want a larger window, virtual is really good. It's easier for everyone to manage.
Yeah, I think it's really flexible. It also makes it really easy for you to be the good person, like the good guy. If the school's like, do you mind if we extend it a couple of days? You'd be like, yeah. Because all you have to do is do 2 clicks, right, to change the date. So it's really easy that way. For us, when it was just virtual fairs that we were doing, we traditionally did a Monday to Monday, so they did have weekend sales. And we kind of kept that going even when we paired them with physical fairs. So occasionally for a physical fair, we have 3-day fairs. So we'd ask, do you want it to start on the day of your fair so there's no confusion, or do you want it to start the Monday before, if they did a Wednesday through Friday fair? So we had those conversations with the schools. But again, it's really easy and really flexible based on your bandwidth. If you have someone or a small team, 2 or 3 people that are capable of fulfilling orders, that's really what you're thinking about when you're scheduling your fairs here.
And I think, Sophie, maybe, if you're doing wish lists for a different organization, though, or you're doing a fundraiser, if you can use the best thing about this virtual book fair mode is you can use it for any kind of targeted marketing that you want people to use your website to place orders. So I think Second Star does some community book supplying, and so that seems like the kind of thing you could leave open for like, it's June, it's Pride, we're putting some gay books out into the world.
Yep.
Buy all month, shop this list, and we'll do this.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it can live on your page forever as long as you want. So if it's an ongoing relationship, ongoing event, you just have a coupon code that lives there. And every time, a book is purchased with that code, and you just work out with your contact, am I paying, am I donating to you monthly, quarterly, once a year, like that kind of thing, like looking at that. And the nice thing about the coupon code is it lists it by date, so you can kind of figure that out. Yeah.
We might have skipped ahead.
Yes.
Book fairs a lot with schools are done as fundraisers. So there's a donation back given to the organization. Our store, we have tiered donations based on sales thresholds. There is a threshold we have set to stop us from losing money. So people do have to make enough to pay out. All these numbers will be unique to your business and your needs. But mostly there's a donation back. So you do need to know what your donation schedule, how much you are able to give out of these sales, and you also need to know when you will call it, do the math, and either write them a check or provide them a store credit. Or whatever else you might do.
When you're having those conversations, do you set up meetings with them, or is it mostly through email?
We do a lot of it through email. We have a form. Please kindly fill out this form to help me refine your book fair mix.
Nice.
And we send it out. I use it more for my in-person stuff because there's some timeline details around that. But I'll do this over email or the phone, depending on depending on how the teacher or parent or whomever prefers.
So we have talked a little bit already about some of these setting expectations, but if you look on the bookstore one, we talked about creating the landing page, generating a coupon code. When you're creating this landing page, it's kind of unique to the school. Pushing buttons, which way did I go? But providing the school with its logo, you want to reach out to the school and get its logo so that they know it's for them. It makes the page look kind of nice. You can put any kind of, there's a text box, so you can put all sorts of language, including the coupon code and how to use it, or the code, the special code, the magical code. And then the other things we talk about is, with the school, setting your expectations with them. The next slide is marketing. I skipped ahead, so I knew that. Who's in charge of marketing? Is it us? Is it the school? Are they telling their families about this? It's very important. In our physical book fair contract, we have a line that's make sure there's nothing competing with the book fair, right? Or if there is something that's competing, that it's connected, it's in conjunction to. But we want to make sure that the school has our logo as well. And then again, we'll talk more about wish lists later, but this is also where you can include the wish lists on the landing page. So everything they only have to click one link at the beginning, and then they can see their teacher's wish list and click there and everything like that. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now, I did do talked a little bit about marketing. Angela, how do you do marketing, or what are your marketing expectations for book fairs?
We list the book fairs on our book fairs coming up page, and then they need to tell their families to shop the book fairs, especially school book fairs. We don't market those. Yeah. We work with dozens and dozens of schools, and we don't have the we can't advertise all of that. And mostly people are having book fairs around conferences in the middle of October or the middle of spring when all the good books are coming out and there's 20 authors coming through your store or other stuff going on. So they need to we ask them to market their own because they know their communities best. They know, but we do provide. We don't have a lot of them, but we've got a cute little logo for the book fairs and a poster that's just the big image, and it's welcome to the blank book fair happening blank through blank, and online at redballoonbookshop.com. And if I was really on it, and I will be next year, we can put a QR code that'll take you right to the page, and then they could print those out or whatever. But mostly they just ask me for my, can we use your logo? Yes, please do. Can we do this stuff? And yeah. Ta-da.
Perfect. Ta-da.
They do it.
Yeah, it's very important that the schools are the ones doing the marketing and that they know that. I often tell the volunteers, the librarian, whoever we're setting up the event with, that they can share their we do refer to it as a coupon code, I'm sorry, that they can share their coupon code far and wide because we ship local and nationwide, right? So they can share it with grandma in, another state, and they can still support the fundraiser. They can share it on Facebook. I've seen that before. I'm like, I don't care where you share it. Like, as long as people are shopping, we're happy, right? So that's a really good thing about virtual fairs. Now, I'm really good at hitting that fast. So now that we've set it up, it's running, how do you fulfill those orders or deliver them?
We are lucky. Our store is pretty medium big-ish, so there's a number. It's not just me and 2 other people. So I have a couple of colleagues whose specialty job at the store is they process orders. We've got the woman that does our newsletter and is kind of our webmaster, is sort of the special orders captain, and there's another woman that helps her. So once people start, like when online orders come through our site, Kelsey and Gigi at my store handle those, and I make sure to communicate with my colleagues, hey, the book fair's on, these are the dates, this is the code. We have other people talked to Indie Commerce and figured out how to set up all the boxes that I go and select out of the drop downs. Yeah. So you should talk to Indie Commerce about how to work the website. They're super helpful all the time. They're here, they're emailable. But so we've got a delivery method. I don't remember what it's called, but it's in shipping methods called in-store pickup. Not in-store pickup. We have in-store pickup at our bookstore called Pickup at School. And this we turn on. We make it related to the coupon code. And so I have to make a coupon code, and then you got to hop into the shipping methods, and then you got to open your weird shipping method, and then you'd be like, when this code presents, so as long as they have their book fair code on their order and they've elected Pickup at School, when they get to the end, they will be able to choose shipping, store pickup, or Pickup at School. Pickup at School, and I have to explain this I talk about this with the volunteer or the librarian. We don't make deliveries of book fairs. That's just a choice we don't do. So I'm always talking about you and your volunteers. We will need to either pick goods up and drop them off. And I'm like, do you have a volunteer who will be available, not at the end of your book fair, but a couple weeks after that, to come pick up all the orders. If you want to do Pickup at School, we will process the orders. We'll hold them till they're complete, until everybody's SPOs have fulfilled. And then I'll be like, hello, Tina. All of the books are here and ready for you to pick up. And the messaging about that and the messaging on the webpage, we would just be like, because we're like, we don't know when you'll get your books. They picked Pickup at School. So you will be contacted by your school when the book fair is over. And so that kind of puts it back on the librarian. But so then what I do is once they're all ready, I have to keep track and be like, are they done? I better get them over there. And then I pack them up. We print a lot of copies of our orders, so they've got the names on them so they don't get mixed up. And then I package them so it's clear whose kid it is. They can read it, and then I put them in a box, and I let them deal with that. Not everybody. This is selected more by suburban schools. Some of the schools right in our neighborhood are like, well, I don't want to mess with that. It's also nice if we do store pickup. They're in your shop. They might find something else. You might run an in-store book fair for them too, so then they can shop in your shop, and you can count that sale as well. Then you have to remember to add all your separate types of book fairs together, which is important.
Do you, when you do the different shipping methods, do you let a school have all 3, or do you do it's either in-store or direct-to-home or Pickup at School?
It's all 3. It's just like the regular. It's like placing a regular order on our site. Yeah. So our standard is you can ship either priority or media mail or pick up in store. Those are just what shows up, and then it just either adds that 3rd item if it's activated, or it doesn't. So people can always. And then if people do pick up in store, I do not put those. We leave them on the hold shelf in the store because that's what they said. And then if they call me later and they're going to get my books, I'm like, well, she did the wrong thing. Yes. Here it is.
So on the landing page, when you have things like that, I usually would do I have a language on the landing page, like all orders placed will be treated we don't have the non-pick up in store one, pick up in school or whatever that
The other one.
Yeah. So we don't have pickup in school. So our language is always like your order will be treated like a traditional web order. You can pick it up in store or have it shipped directly to you or the person that you're gifting the book to. So I would recommend having like clear language about what each option is, because you will get people calling the stores. For my instance, there were 11 stores, so it was like they call one store and that person calls me, and so it kind of like alleviates that kind of miscommunication if you have it clearly written out. All right, we're moving along here. So we talked about delivery. So now we're getting in. I didn't skip a page. This is good. Okay. Wish lists and teachers. So we did talk about conjunction. You can always have teacher wish lists along with book fairs. We highly recommend that. People really like to support their teachers. But Sophie, can you tell us a little bit about how you use wish lists? Do you use them for teachers in store too?
Oh yeah, we definitely use them for teachers in store, and we typically start them by partnering with the schools for like community shopping nights. But then we can also, they're good for all year. So when, the caregiver comes in with their kid looking for that, end of the year teacher gift, we can look through the teacher's wish list and use it all throughout the year. So it's really, really awesome. But yeah, we'll sometimes partner it with the book fairs, but typically it's more of the community shopping nights, because then you're getting the people in the store as well. And then you're able to feature them on your website too, which is really nice. And once again, speaking specifically from the indie commerce side is what I know for the wish list. So.
Perfect. So making wish lists can be a little tedious, depending on how you do it. So, Sophie, can you tell us how you set up wish lists?
Yeah, so we partner with the teachers to get what they want on the wish list.
Okay, so you do the active, like you put the books on the lists, or you have them go in and do it?
It's like a mix on it. We have, it's deep in the archives of our website, and we realized we needed to put it back up front, so glad this all happened. But we actually have a video showing how teachers can create their wish list, so that is very helpful. But yeah, we do partner with them sometimes, especially if they're looking for suggestions, which this is a big thing for events and author events. If you have books left over, make those some of your suggestions to help move the stock on that.
Smart.
So yeah.
Cool.
Add them to your core book fair mix until they're
That too.
Let's see. I have a question here that I want to make sure I ask it. Like, what's the purpose of a wish list or registry? I think that's like a basic question, but it needs to be asked.
Yeah, the purpose, I think, is getting, for like educators, is making sure that their classroom library reflects their beliefs as well, which is really important, because so that way they can divert a bit from maybe what the school is requesting and showcase like diversity, inclusivity, so that way like every kid feels welcome. And most of our teachers try and do that as well on their wish list, which is just amazing.
Okay, perfect.
I feel like a lot of our wish lists include, it's often some of the like really cool, the teachers want some of these really cool illustrated nonfiction, some more graphic, things that are expensive, and they're their classroom libraries a lot. So these are the books they're buying with their own money. And please, parents, could you buy me a copy of Dogman number 12? Thank you.
Yeah, or 5 copies.
20.
Dogman. I think it's important for here to talk about, like, this is another spot where you want to really communicate with the volunteers or the librarian that you're working with, and ask what their bandwidth is for creating wish lists. Because, a school could be creating 20 wish lists, right? Are we asking each of the teachers to go in and make their own account and make their own wish list and then share the wish list with us? Or are we asking one librarian to do it for all 25 of their teachers? Or are we asking a volunteer to figure out how to do that? Do we have enough time to walk people through it, to offer to make wish lists for them? I think it's really important personally. Like, one thing that I did was I said, why don't you create one account and share that information with whoever has the bandwidth to create it, or have one designated person to create all of the wish lists, because teachers don't have a lot of time. Even in physical book fairs, you're like, please make a wish list, and they never make a wish list, right? So it is really important to talk about like the bandwidth that everybody has and communicate that so everyone knows going in how long that takes, because sometimes wish lists take more than 2 weeks to make, especially if we're making 25 of them. But it's important that they can create the lists, and you can, on the back end, always go in, regardless if you created the list or not, to add, to edit, to remove, anything to help them throughout the the program, the event. They can also, they're live, so they can add things throughout. So it's really great, and see what's selling and what's not.
They also, I mean, their indie commerce they stay valid for a year. Like they stay shoppable for a year after they're made, all the wish lists. So people can find them if they have the link and even shop. You could, that Ms. Jones still wants these books, and you don't. I mean, you're not. When you buy from a wish list during a book fair, you're like doubling your impact on what you're giving to your school. You are providing a book to that school as a consumer, and then the store is going to also give money back because that sale counts. Yeah. It's kind of like store credit.
Yeah, for us, again, like you mentioned, the wish list lives for a year or however long they want to make it valid. They have that choice to update it, but they only get donations back on sales during the event, right? Only with, that's another thing that I check. I check the coupon code. I check if we have any author events. I check those sales in case people forget to put the coupon code, right? And I check wish list sales that happen throughout the period. So regardless, if they forgot to put the coupon code, but they bought a book during the time from a specific, this wish list was created for this event, there's other ways to capture those sales and help that school, and then also the teachers. But once the event's over, people can still shop and support their teachers, but there's just no donation connected to it. Let's see, let's move along because we're moving fast. There is a note here, title is out of print. We do, usually it says out of print on the website, which is really helpful, so they don't add it to the list. But if, say it was, available, we might reach out to the librarian or the purchaser and be like, that book is unfortunately out of print. Would you like to exchange it for another one? We can cancel your order and so forth.
Yeah, if you're like, I don't have to call them for another week, but you're like, you notice you're missing one special order and it's never coming. Yeah. You'll want to get them their books and figure out.
Now, do you do anything special for marketing that you wish lists that you wouldn't do for a book fair? Anything else unique, or is it about the same?
I mean, wish lists, we talk about wish lists a lot when we have educator nights, and when you're working with any community partners. We don't do a lot of marketing for them, but we regularly market to our partners that we have them, and they work the same as the corporation's wish list. And you can just shop the site. We've got community partners. There's a neighborhood, it's called Neighborhood House. It's a community center. And we can improve our partnership with them in the wish list. It's great. But we're always like, people come in to shop it, and we're like, oh, yeah, let me pull that up. Most important pro tip, if people make their own wish list, they need to put their organization name in the title of the wish list, and then you can actually search your indie commerce website for the wish list. If they just say books for summer, no one will find the Neighborhood House wish list.
Yeah, and then we have, when you walk into our store, we have a pretty decent sized poster letting educators know that we do a discount for them. And then once they introduce themselves as educators, then we can talk to them about the different things we do with schools, including the teachers' wish lists and stuff.
It's a great point you bring up educator discounts. We do not double. So if there is a donation coming back to the school, we do not accept educator discounts. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, we don't either. Yeah, we tell customers they may choose, if you're shopping, you may choose to have your educator discount. We have a coupon code for educators to use on the website. Yeah. You can choose your educator discount, or you can choose to include it in the book fair. Yeah. You can't double tap.
Yeah, and I want to speed us along because we're running out of time for questions. But is there any, do you do anything different for fulfilling wish lists than you did for book fairs?
I mean, it's kind of the same thing, either that or we'll have our school hostess, which one is in the audience. They'll sometimes deliver the books to the school as well. But a lot of the times they do want to come pick them up because then they're getting that chance to shop in the store, and then they'll do separate shopping with the educator discount. So
yeah, afterwards we take that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes we'll have a teacher coming in who wanted store credit, and she comes to shop before we're done, and we're like, okay, well, we got this.
Yeah.
And that's good. We will drive things, especially small boxes, with Yeah. We ask is that on your way home? Do you mind stopping?
Yeah, and we briefly touched on this, make sure you're marketing to your schools or organizations that you do wish lists. I think, we're getting to this next part. It's really important to note that you can use these methods, everything we're talking about, with other community members. It doesn't have to be schools. It can be groups. It can be an organization. Because we really like to use wish lists and even pages for raising awareness. So, Sophie, I know this is kind of where you shine, so I wanted to give you a chance. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do with wish lists?
Yes.
And how you...
and I just want to say one quick second thing on the last slide. We asked the educators if they wanted to have their photo on there. You don't have to have their photo on the wish list, but it's nice to have the opportunity. So I just wanted to point that out. You don't have to have the photos.
I think that's great. I don't do that. Look how
lovely,
cute they look.
But yes, you can help raise awareness in your community because a wish list, they're not just for educators. There can be anyone who walks into your store. Use it for registries like baby showers, birthday, all that fun stuff. But yes, it's great to partner with community, and this one is a little bit outside of our community. Technically, it is in Texas, but they reached out to us because of another program we have in our store of getting LGBTQ plus books out into our community, and they asked if we would help just send some books. They weren't even asking for a registry. They're just like, hey, can you just send us some books? We're trying to build this library. And then we're like, yes, but how about we do this registry as well for you? And that way anyone in our community can purchase it, and we have it online, so that way anyone can purchase a book for them, which is super awesome. So we've sent about, I think, 4 boxes of books down to this library in Texas. And it's really cool because they're putting them, I just want to brag about it for 1 second.
Yeah. That's why I have it here.
It's not like they're building one library. They're actually putting it across college campuses and in therapy offices. They're doing shelves and stuff so that way people can grab and borrow the book. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, and I've had other groups reach out and be like, we would love to do a wish list. And then, you just ask them the same questions. How are we getting you the books? When do you want us to check it? Those kind of things.
Yeah, so this one I will say, we are paying for the shipping on this one, so just kind of keep that in mind, because the books that are bought through the website, we do the store pickup, even though it's us picking it up. So we are shipping them, but just kind of keep that in mind depending on what you all want to do. Mm-hmm. So,
great. Wonderful. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to? There's so much to this, but I had to fit it in 15 minutes, and we were running out of time for questions.
I will say we're just got them a couple weeks ago, but we got a donation of tablets, and we're going to be converting them to be in-store tablets, so that way customers can use them in the store when shopping to create their own registries as well. So we'll be rolling that out in a couple weeks. So fingers crossed for us that it works well.
Very exciting.
Doing a tech upgrade, and we can use the old tablet.
And I'm going to be looking at all the privacy settings to make sure they only stay on the website.
So we mentioned this multiple times, but I just want to make sure that everyone understands that you can use this outside of schools, and it's a really great way to expand access, not only getting your name out to communities that might be a little bit further away from you, but also expanding access to children and libraries and just people in general who are further from your store, might be in those book deserts. It's a really easy way, again, to be the good person, to be the heart of a community, even if you're not in the dead center of it. Anything else to add to that?
That's good. So you can be a helper.
Yeah.
Really easily.
Yes, it's awesome.
All right. Questions, again, we're going to ask people to come up here and speak to the microphone since we are being recorded. We want to be able to hear everybody. So speak loud and clearly, please. You first. Yeah, are they on?
Is it on? Hello?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that I'm running into is I've met with the public school district, and they're like, you can't do any of this stuff. Our teachers can't have wish lists. We can't do any. How do you navigate that?
Did they
do I just go with the smaller schools, the not public school? I don't know. I don't know how to get around that.
Did they give you a reason why?
I don't know. They have to use some specific...
Some vendor.
Yeah,
so my recommendation for anybody who's getting started to work with schools, no matter what, school visits, just hit them shopping, is to become a vendor. So ask the school district, how do we become a vendor for your teachers? That means that the librarians can come in, teachers can come in and shop in your store and get reimbursements because you're a recognized vendor. They'll ask you for some documents. Yeah.
And I feel like this thank goodness, is not something that my districts around seem to do, but it happens. I hear about it at all these conferences. Yeah. So if you find those, get yourself on the list. And then I think you can work with the tiny school. I mean, there's a lot of our book fairs. I mean, it's also our in-store book fair program. There are reasons you might want to use, it's not as easy to have a fair with us. The website's so easy.
Yeah, and also just like make yourself aware that you do work with schools in general, because even if they can't do a wish list, educators are still going to come find you. So just making it like, yep, we support educators. So like do the advertisement of just educators in general, not focusing maybe specifically on a school as well.
You mentioned that a wish list will stay live for a year. Do you know if that is a year after created, or if they add a title to it 6 months in, does that reset the clock?
I don't know.
Yeah,
okay, but I do feel like if they do it at one time,
let's ask Indie Commerce.
Ask Indie Commerce. They'll know.
An Indie Commerce question. Yes.
I didn't even realize about the year, so I'm glad you told me that.
I just had one expire. Oh no! I was like, do you want it?
Okay, sorry, I'm super awkward. Am I speaking into the microphone? Okay,
yeah.
Excellent. So we do, with our virtual fairs, we do them always in conjunction with a physical fair. So one of the big things is purchase a gift certificate for your student or a teacher. Mm-hmm. But I have had like friends and families' kids go to schools where they will actually collect email addresses and cell phone numbers and send a text. So like, I got a text from my best friend's kid, like, hey, do you want to help me meet my reading goals? Of course I do. And so like I sent them $20, and then at the end of the fair, they were like, hey, I raised $300. Like this one kid got $300 because they texted her, and I was just wondering if anybody does that.
No, but cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm writing that down, actually.
Yeah, that is really cool. And I would like to say, like, the landing page is really useful. For example, we had a school that always partnered with another organization, so they wanted to raise donations. So Indie Commerce does have, like, a donate button or a donation button that you can add to things. So that's also, like, maybe a teacher didn't create a wish list. You can be like, do you want me to put this button that says donate to this teacher's classroom? And then they can come and shop. Like, there are lots of things that we could do.
We do put that donation button up, and I'm working on improving my language around it. Yeah. So it's everyone. I will get calls. They're like, "Are you just taking this money?" And I'm like, "And we're getting 20% of it." And I was like, "No."
Yeah, that's something too.
We're holding that separate from the total, and it's fine.
Yeah, wording is very important, and feel free to try again. Like you can always change the website if you've already done something.
Yeah. Based on all the questions you get the first time. Yeah.
I'm interested in hearing about on your landing page how you curate it. How you create, what else do you put on there besides the code? Because once people land on the page, what things do you put on there that are appealing to, like, help navigate through your website?
Hello, welcome to the Nativity School Book Fair, virtual book fair page happening at school. I copy and paste these onto all of them, so then I have to check. I was like, oh, do these all say Highland Catholic? This is not the Highland Catholic Book Fair.
You don't just clone them?
No.
There's a cloning button.
Cute.
That way you don't have to.
Indie Commerce is super functional.
Yeah. There's a cloning button on every page of your website. What? Even books. Yeah.
Hold on.
It's in the editing. Yeah. You have to be the maker. You have to be the maker of it, but you can change that in the authorization at the very bottom. We're on this. Yeah. The
my
publishing
school
thing.
visit coordinator is going to weep tears of joy when I text her in a minute.
The other thing that we did, especially when we were just virtual fairs or coming out of the virtual fairs and offering some other things, is we created living lists on our website. So an LGBTQ list, a women's history list, Asian voices, black voices, anything that we could think of that we would display in store, we put a list there, and we thought, what would we want to see at our in-person fair? We better put that there. Bestsellers,
Yeah, and
fans of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, anything you can be creative on.
And I know it wasn't directly asked, but like on the wish list, if we're doing something with the community, we like the LGBTQ plus library, we put their website on there because we know people are like, is this legit? Like, what is this about? That way they can go click their website if they want more information. We put like a little blurb about them, but that way if they want more information, so. We
have a separate page. We have 1 million pages. There's some tidying to do.
Yeah.
But there's a page of book fair recommendations that's allegedly current and living. I need to update it. And so I have a hyperlink to that. Here, shop the wish lists below, or anything on this website, or click this link for some book fair recommendations. And then I've got on that page picture books, board books, middle grade, graphic novels, nonfiction, sport. There's too many. I don't want to do the sports list. And then when I go in to update those, I go to I do know how to do this. You go to the tab on the right. That's just like the book list, and then you delete them all, and then you can scan them in.
Yeah. And the nice thing with the clone button is that it just lives there. So you don't have to repeat it.
God, my new favorite thing.
The other thing you can do along with those lists is ask the librarian or whoever, hopefully the school has a librarian. If they don't, an English teacher, if they have a list of 10 to 12 books that they would recommend to their students. So it's not their wish list, it's their recommendation list. Yeah.
Hi. So I feel like we're still rebuilding our school relationships post-pandemic and our own systems, and we're doing almost entirely virtual book fairs at this point. But I feel like the piece that's missing is like the school's marketing piece. Like we've had some that we've done, and it's just like crickets. Like we had 2 weeks, we had 0 orders from the school. So how do you stop working with the school if they are doing a bad job? Do you, what kind of language?
Yes.
So
for the audio
do you
recording.
have language
Yes.
in the contract that requires specifics of in terms of marketing? Do you provide them specific materials in terms of marketing? I'm just that's what's missing.
So we do kind of 2 different marketing, but this is we will create a kind of very colorful, cute marketing with the school's logo, the information, and that's the email marketing, because then you don't have to worry about printer ink. And then we have one that also we send that's a PDF that's more kind of plain, same information, logo that they print. And so we send both. We also send them some social media marketing, Canva. If you don't use Canva, please use Canva. It's brilliant. It's wonderful. And then that way we send that to the school and be like, you guys are in charge of the advertising. But then we do let them know, hey, we only had 0 sales. We had 5 sales. We provided you with everything? What did you all do? What can we improve? What can you improve? I'm not saying close the relationship, but maybe tweak it a little bit, figure it out first. And then if it's still no, then I think it's safe to unfortunately close it.
Definitely give them a second chance.
Yeah.
But those are all great things.
It's also, I'm from the Midwest, and there's some teachers that are sad we don't use paper order. Some people like to hand out forms, but get a QR code-aroo and then make a version and send it with the QR code. Then they can print flyers. If they want to hand out paper flyers with the QR, that'll take them there. And just let them know, that's a way to make it physical, analog, digital version.
Yes.
So thanks for being here and sharing your knowledge. I'm curious in regards to book fairs and the challenges that we've had in regards to organizing when going back over to the schools. So in our case, we're typically asked then to have the information for the student, of course, but we're also asked to have the teacher. We're also then trying to track multiple different schools at the same time.
Yeah.
So what we have done through Indie Commerce is we create a store book, and then we have attributes to that. But the challenge with that is if you have a book fair with, let's say, 100 different titles, then you're creating 100 different store books. And so that becomes very laborious. So and I don't know if I'm getting into the weeds too much here, but the coupon code.
I'm out of my depth, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Keep asking.
What's the Hannah one?
Because you can do the student's name and stuff too, with the attributes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do. Versus, I'm totally curious if you're just asking them to put that into the order comments. And then trying to track it that way. So I'm just curious about the logistics.
Yeah, so I don't know. I might pass this back to you, Angela, because you're talking more about when you deliver books to the school after the event.
That's
so
right.
we never did a deliver books for book fairs. We only do that for school visits, which makes it a little easier unless you're doing a Judd Winnick Hilo or a Diary of a Wimpy Kid where they have, they just keep going every year. But for the, how do you keep track of who the book's going to when you do the deliver to school option?
That's their problem. I assume we're in a level of like they know their families, and so they'll be able. I'm assuming they can match these parents to these kids. We mostly ask folks to put things in the order comments.
Yeah. I feel like there's a way to make the website. Did you attribute where you can?
So you can put like the student's name, the school.
Yeah, but you can only do that. You can only do that on store books, and a store book is like something you have to create manually with its own SKU. So it is really time consuming. It's beneficial for school visits for sure,
right?
But
And it definitely works. Like, so for example, we're not necessarily delivering per se. Schools are coming over, but just in regards to help them, either their PTO or the school itself, they're asking for us to have like some way to get it to the kid. And when you're ordering through Indie Commerce, somebody might be a regular customer, and they'll have then in their payment information and their
bill to, ship to.
That's all the same, and so then the school can't figure it out.
Yeah. So in that instance, I'd tell the school, if you can't find a student, let me know. I'll call the number or I'll email them. We don't want to give out information, even if we think they go to that school and they already have that information. But I tend to do everything the hard way. But this would be my recommendation, just from this instance, is depending on the volume of orders you're getting, possibly having a spreadsheet tracking just the order number. You can make it as simple as you want, but then having the shipping and the ship to and the purchase from names, and then just like send that list to the school. Like, this is what we had on your coupon code. I don't know.
I was going to say, we do the attribute of the teacher's name as well, because at least then it's kind of like goes to the teacher, and they can kind of figure it out. But
So we don't use this functionality of the website, which I have heard tell of. But because it sounds so labor intensive for the booksellers, I suspect it's maybe not something we're going to do. And we encourage people to drop that info into the comments. And our school visit coordinator is usually the poor victim of sorting these out. And then she only has 5 that she needs to, she'll have a few blank ones, and they'll work on that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, I think we have time for one more question. Perfect.
Oh, good.
2 questions. We'll do our best.
One person,
two questions.
We're going to stop talking at 10. No.
So I want to take you back to more setting expectations and planning. When do you begin marketing your book fairs to the schools to put it on their calendars?
As like something they can do?
As something they can do, they should do. Let's get this planned out so
this.
they're not coming last minute. Can we do a virtual book fair next week?
I do. I mean, we have a For Educators page on our site that's got like overhead details about it. So it says book fairs, and it's like, we do book fairs. If you click on that one, I've got expectations there. We need 8 weeks notice for an in-person. I need 2 weeks for a virtual one. And so if they email me, and can I do one next week? If they're my best, if it's Kate DiCamillo, I'll be like, yeah, and I'm mad. But I might be like, I'm so sorry. We had a partner that likes to, this is an in-person one, but they asked at the last minute for a number of years, and I finally was they've got authors coming to town at a certain time, and this year there's a new coordinator. They're like, hey, can we do this? And I was like, absolutely not. I need 8 weeks, but we can set one up in the summer. And she was like, cool, let's do it. We definitely start. We have educator nights. We're adding more. We historically had one a year. We've added a second. We might add another one. Anytime we're interfacing with customers, we mentioned there are book fairs. And so my very favorite librarian is the Highland Park Middle School librarian who emailed me the first week of school to ask if she could have her last week of school book fair. So I really don't, I feel like that's the maximum actual amount in advance I can handle keeping track of it. But you can book a long ways in advance. The only people I will add book fairs to, there's a couple established partners who are like, I'm sorry I didn't ask. And I'm like, I thought you might, Matt. I got some books. I have enough volume for you, and I've got your code ready from last year.
What I would say, if you're new to setting up book fairs, whether they're physical or in person or virtual, is the May and I was trying to figure out what month I was living. May and June. that's when I would reach out to schools because they're still in session and see like, hey, last year you did a book fair with us. Do you still want to do a book fair next year at the same time, different month? If it's new and you're reaching out, it's like, hey, you came to our educator night and you wanted to set up a possible book fair. We haven't heard from you, but I wanted to just start the conversation now because they'll be gone. And then September starts, and it's like everybody's wildly busy.
And they got about 6 weeks.
So for fall, like this is for physical ones definitely, but you can do the same for virtual. In fall, I start reaching out to our regular contacts or interested people before summer break. So April, May, so they can start thinking about it too. Be like, hey, you have a quick second, just to get you on the calendar, like let's lock in your dates. And then we'll reach back out in September to talk about the actual logistics.
That's what I was getting. Thank you. Then last question is about shipping for virtual. So I did my first school district-wide virtual career fair this year, and it got chaotic with shipping.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
So how do you set expectations around that? Are you shipping things as their orders are coming in, or are you telling families, I will do all shipping at the closure of the book fair?
And that depends. The only time we ship, if they're picking ship or in-store pick, we process those one at a time. So we do shipping every day. We've got packages, we got mail most days. So we'll ship the orders. Basically, those orders, if they're shipping in the mail, are being processed like regular online orders. We're just counting them to the book fair. The ones we hold are when we do pick up at school. Or, you can negotiate any of this. And I think if you were shipping on demand, either way, you must know, do I have room to store the book fair orders here?
Yeah.
And if you don't, ship them out.
Do what's right for your store and for your mental health.
So they were like, I didn't get this, and I'm like, okay, I'm holding until I have all of your books in that you requested. I don't want to ship 2 books today, and then you got another partial order next week.
Any online orders, and I think it's in our messaging. We have our bookseller, and you're like, hello, we actually are processing this now, and we're like, this book was in store. These books we need to order. We will contact you, and we decided this after 18,000 iterations of COVID operations. We decided we're not shipping them every time because it gets, you might pay media mail shipping, which is low. That's media mail for one, and that's if we shipped them all together. That rate we calculated. If I have to ship, if I only have 2, I've just paid. I've lost a bunch of money. So don't do that.
And really good. I see our end thing. I would just say, just a special note, BookSync did fulfill through Ingram primarily, so we weren't shipping from in store.
We were, and we're good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for listening to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Additional educational resources can always be found on the ABA website at www.bookweb.org. Happy reading!